Thursday, February 6th, 2025. This is the Rants of Izzo Show live, brought to you by Spreely TV. And this week, we're featuring show sponsor Jennifer Aguirre. Excuse me. The pronunciation is still a little bit foreign. But she's a fitness professional, IFBB pro, and the Rants of Izzo Show takes pride in sponsoring small businesses, local American businesses, to help them grow. So we're asking you to do the same, right? Jennifer's just launched a clothing brand. She's health and wellness, nutrition, all of that. I strongly suggest if you support the show, you at least check her out. It's JENNAGUIRRE 7877. That's the Instagram page. Going to give you a link tree to all of her good content for show support. And show some love and support for small businesses in America. It's what we do here. It's what we love to do to perpetuate those who are actually making the country better by improving everyone else's life, by getting their passion out there. So make sure you want to supporting and following her. Don't forget, Spreely.tv, Spreely.com, all things for free speech, the Burn Pit Podcast, Report and Opine, Shannon Joy Show, Pete Santilli, Evening Rants, and a lot more. Rants of Izzo, we're here daily, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's have a show.
Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on the show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention.
Damn!
This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your host, Dominic Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
All right, happy Thursday. Rants of Izzo Show here on Spreely TV, all things speak freely. It is Black History Month, and I'm not going to celebrate it because I'm tired of being shoved down my throat, and that's what we don't do here at the Rants of Izzo Show. We do not hide from free speech and the nonstop irritation that this country has been built on lately, which is the demonization of everybody who is not a slave to the system of what our government tells us. We do have a group chat. If you want to join, go look in the description of all the videos out there, the podcast or anything else you're listening to. Just click on the Rants of Izzo Show link. It's going to transport you over to a Telegram. There's a great group of people in there. April Schoen, Bev Banks, Sarah Nichols, Kate, Morgana. All you guys are awesome. We appreciate you for hanging out every day with us. Flying solo today, and we're going to be talking about some stuff. It's as simple as that. We are, and I'll adjust this screen for you. We are at February, and every February we have to talk about it being Black History Month. Since as long as I can remember, and it is what it is. Black celebration in American history is absolutely fantastic, and I believe we should be celebrating Black achievements. I'm tired of celebrating Black oppression, and I'm starting to think about the fact that it must be a fantastic weapon that was designed by somebody, I don't know who, to come up with a nonstop victim mentality oppression for a group of people. If you're Black in America and your identity is the victimization of my color, there's something wrong with you. They're legitimately, they're achieving the definition of the word racist, which is what I grew up on. And the definitions always change. They always do, right? You have, now you breathe, and racist is like just breathing the wrong way. You look at somebody, oh, you're being racist. Well, the last time I checked, years ago, the definition of racism meant that you believed, like you had an active belief that your race was superior to those of other people. So as a white man, if I believed that my race was superior to all others, I was a racist in totality. If I believe that I'm superior to blacks but not Hispanics, then I'm racist by definition to blacks. That's changed. That now has been so just diluted and powerless. I can clearly remember being in high school, the late 80s and the early 90s, and when someone called you a racist, you scrambled like crazy to defend your position. Go, no, I'm friends with Armand. No, I'm friends with him. I'm not racist. And over the years, I can't tell you how many times that you bring issues of the black community to the forefront and you're called a racist. And that's why everything I've always done is stays up online, no matter how much good, how much bad, how much I screw up in conversation or anything I say, it's always up there because the left, the liberal left, and you on the right are getting close to being the same kind of category. You love to gaslight people like crazy. So it doesn't matter what factual evidence you put out where you can fight for the black community, you can fight to expose the literal systemic racism that does exist, and it is 100% authentic. And if anybody wants to challenge me on that, go look at the Cook County, Chicago area court systems. You have a jail that's built to hold 9,000 and 10,000 black bodies that does, and that's systematic racism. That's systemic. The system of racism is right there. You vilify whites, and you elevate the black culture while allowing them to shoot and kill themselves on a genocidal level every single weekend without a bat of an eye. Black lives do not matter in the city of Chicago, especially in the month of February. Nobody cares about you. They just don't. But what they do care about is dumbing down your educational system. They want to farm little criminals. If you're black in the city of Chicago and you keep voting for people like Mayor Brandon Johnson, who I can't wait. Man, I cannot wait for this man to get in front of Congress to play a drinking game, even though I don't drink. I want to hear how many times he's going to bring up the color of his skin. Well, this is why I allow sanctuary. As a black man in the city of Chicago, as a black man that represents black people, 2.7 million people in that city, and just about a third showed up to vote. So you guys deserve what you get, number one. But number two, let's go back to the oppression that you are at the receiving end of. If you are a black person who has to have that black pride for Black History Month while not realizing that you're perpetuating the problem, especially coming from a former socialist, self-admitted socialist and president of the Chicago Teachers Union. They keep your schools dumb. They keep all of you stupid. Listen to the way that you speak in an urban city culture where education is just not a priority. Cardi B speech is what I call it. If you ever look at the way Cardi B, who is a product of the American success dream, she really is. Cardi B is proof you cannot hate the player. And it's anyone. It's an equal opportunity if you're driven enough. So I respect the shit out of Cardi B. I think she's dumb no, that's actually incorrect. She's not stupid. She's a fucking genius. That's why she's in the position she's in. And I'm talking about her and she doesn't even know I exist. So Cardi B, she's an example that America is the greatest country in the world. But her ability to speak is just ridiculous. We had Ebonics when I was in high school, and that was being pushed on us to kind of placate to the poor black kids who just could not properly speak to the way that, modern English, commas, pronouns, gerunds, verbs, action verbs, all those things, semicolons in a sentence. When do you use those? Well, let's dumb this down for the black kids and give them their own culture of Ebonics. It's how you do. It's called jive in the 70s. Go watch the movie Airplane. Oh, stewardess, I speak jive. Mrs. Cleaver gave a great example of that. But now you progress it all the way to our culture is a culture of memes. That's how we give across our news. That's how we get across our education. That's how we deliver society's ongoing, is by memes. And the punctuation. Sadly, some of you dumb white kids out there are falling victim and not embracing your education. You guys don't know what the fuck a comma is. Last time I checked, it's ridiculous. There's a big difference in having that comma in a sentence about what's being referenced. But the Cardi B speech, if that translates so poorly onto written verbiage, how is it going to translate when you're actually you're trying to progress a bunch of kids into functioning into society? It's perfect. It's systemic racism, and you guys don't even realize it. You're segregated off in areas. Right now, when I was growing up, it was Cabrini Green, which they knocked down And then that moved up to the areas, the element moved up to the areas where I was a police officer, all the way up in Lake County, went all over the place. You had Rockwell Gardens. You had all these projects that were up. Slave quarters, segregation. And yeah, you had gentrification. Good old Whitey comes in and they like taking over that area. You should see where Cabrini Green is now, man. It's like, what the hell? Damn. But back then, years ago, like I say quite a bit that my mother's brother was a fire lieutenant down at that station house. And he tells stories all the time about how the facade of the whole firehouse was all riddled with bullets at one time. But you guys had slave quarters for years by the Democrat government in Chicago. And your school system was so broken. You can't read, you can't write, you can't spell, you can't get jobs, right? But they sure as hell thrive. Gang culture, drugs, and guns. Probably 100% the whites who are Democrats who want to keep you in slavery. But, we don't want to talk about that, right? Because they're your heroes. They're the great white knights, right? Without you, Father Michael Flager doesn't exist at all. He doesn't even have a parish. The man doesn't even know what color he is, but he's Christ himself revisited in Chicago because of you, right? You're stupid. You go to school. You don't learn. And then you punish the teachers who are in the city of Chicago, right? Those teachers, some of them who I'm sure do a great job, but the rest of them who want to strike more often than they fucking teach in the first place, they're perpetuating stupidity in your children. I had a friend years ago who was a Chicago public schools teacher, and she had this brilliant way of teaching math. Now, I'm an idiot. I can't. You want to give me like 4 apples and ask me to add them up with all my toes and fingers combined? I couldn't do it. I would need a calculator. That's how dumb I am in math. But when I graduated high school by the skin of my teeth, and I went to college for 1 semester, I had one math teacher who was so good at teaching that I actually got the highest grade in the class, the dumbest kid in there, because of the way she taught. She knew how to facilitate the information to me, right? That's what a teacher's supposed to do. I had a friend who said that she used a deck of playing cards to properly convey math to the kids because the dads and the grown men that were in their culture, the black culture, used the cards to gamble. And the kids always saw them. They played cards all the time. So it was an association. And she said, man, test scores were soaring. But of course, the union, that's not the way they did it. And they wound up firing her and all that shit. So they purposely want you dumb. We saw what happened in Common Core across the nation. Shit, I dated a woman back in 2014, 15, something like that. And I tried to help her kid do Common Core. I'm like, this is stupid. So they want to dumb you kids down even more. Now you kids are being set up for failure. You're hopeless. Your entire life then through your music is just degradation of women. It's gang culture. It's money. It's sex. It's got some great catchy beats on sometimes. I got some stuff pumping in my ears when I go to the gym. It's pretty cool, but I'm a grown adult. But what you're doing is you're predictively programming yourselves nonstop through vibrations and energy and repetitions, wording over and over and over again until you program yourself that your life is probably have no value and you're probably not going to live to be past 19 in your city, and it's all the fault of the white people. So you're going to get in depression and you lose hope. And then the city, let's not talk about the city too. There's not that much opportunity in the city. People love to come to Chicago. They love to visit it, and they get in O'Hare, right? And I say all the time, take 90. Go ahead and get off at Ohio. And I haven't been down there in quite a long time. I don't even know if you can still smell the fudge. I think they closed that factory there. But it's a gorgeous view. Probably, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful drives in the city of Chicago to get a feeling of being all encompassed by the beauty of the architecture is to drive on I-90. Or take a cab or take an Uber so you could be a witness and not have to focus on the road. And when you're going up that off-ramp on Ohio, or Ontario or Ohio, you just look. Just look. It's beautiful. All the buildings are incredible. That's not the city. You really want the truth, then go by that old rock and roll McDonald's or whatever it is now and wait until about 1 or 2 in the morning. Really do it in the summertime. It's great. And then get a bike and ride any direction for 15 minutes. North, east, well, east you'll run into the lake, west or south. Actually, go to the United Center if you want to do that. That's where the Blackhawks play or the Bulls play. And just get on Madison and start walking west. And just look at the city of Chicago. Go south of 290 anywhere and see the reality of what the news never shows you. The movies never feature. TV never features, right? Go look at all the litter and the trash and the shit and the broken down cars and the boarded up building and the poverty. It's all segregation. Ever notice where it's at? It's in your black neighborhoods. They don't do it to whitey. They do it to the blacks, right? But you keep voting Democrat all the time, every year. It's like it's programmed into you. So you've got despair. You have got despair rooted in your culture for the next God knows how many generations. And it's going to be the white man's fault all the time, right? It's never your fault. So we got the weekend shooting numbers. We have a low weekend shooting numbers, right? We only had 18 shot. In the last 5 days. 18 people shot in the last 5 days in Chicago. 7 were killed. 7 of you didn't make a fucking difference in this planet anymore, especially in the city of Chicago. Your lives didn't matter. See ya for Black History Month. How ironic. Black History Month, bye. There you go. Your crime. It's what the desperate do. It's what the poor do, the impoverished do, the uneducated do. You know, I love that money, they say, is the root of all evil. Now, it's actually poverty is. Poor people who are desperate will commit crimes. It's as shitty as that. And they'll commit the lower IQ crimes, like the robberies and the carjackings and the shootings and the low vibration. Oh my God, your sneakers didn't have the right color on when you walked through my neighborhood. So I take that as disrespect. So I'm going to find you and drive by your home and shoot it up at 2:00 in the morning. That low frequency, low forehead, evolution didn't want to knock at my doorstep mindset that the culture has, but we're going to blame whitey, especially for Black History Month, right? You never celebrate the awesome advancements that your culture made to society, right? Movies, music, art. Black culture is just saturated into the positiveness of America, but we can never see that because you want to vilify and constantly bring up what the white man did 400 years ago that apparently you all have to pay for, but never your own accountability and atonement for what you do to your own people, whatever. But you don't even want to realize that you're in this nonstop perpetual state of slavery still, because as you're keeping your kids stupid, as you're keeping your whole culture dumb, what you're also doing is you're perpetuating criminals, and you're voting in criminals in office who keep these laws, these stupid laws on the books, like weed, for example. And I know that in Illinois it's been decriminalized, but up until that point, how many times did cops like me have all the probable cause we needed to arrest you for a stupid plant that your culture glorified? If you can't see that a product like cannabis was the single greatest systemic racist tool on the planet, I don't know what you had. You had an uneducated group of people, and that's whites too, so don't worry about it. You know, white people love their weed, and you keep them just dumbed down on cannabis like crazy. And then you give the police the ability to stop them like crazy, but you can't take it away because their culture glorifies it like crazy. Oh my God, it's like synergy. It's a snowflake turning into an avalanche, and that avalanche is just, it's got the universe to continue to grow. And then you go into the prison system, and the prison system is designed there for you. You were farmed. You were born into a black culture that is run by black Democrats, Hispanic Democrats, liberal white Democrats, who all know exactly what they're doing with you. They're keeping you stupid. They're pumping you out like crazy, incentivizing your mother to have sex with as many people as possible, to have multiple fathers. They don't care. They just want black bodies, because those black bodies they're either going to die, shot in drive-bys, continue to be farmed out for whatever purposes they're in, and they're going to find one of two prisons, the Cook County Jail or Chicago Public Schools. Both are prisons. Chicago public school teachers, again, if they can't teach and they're still getting paid, why? If we have such an abysmal graduation rate, and I believe it was in 2014, I think it was like 67% of the black boys in Chicago were graduating high school, but teachers were still getting paid. Why? We do these stupid things in Chicago. You guys remember Jay Cutler? Yeah, Jay Cutler, Chicago Bear, 9 losing seasons as a Chicago Bear, but he still got paid. But any of you ever want to take your job and keep it out there and have 9 years of losing performance, you'd probably be fired. But we do that with Chicago's teachers, right? You keep them getting paid. You keep getting dropped out when it comes down to these black kids failing out of school, getting just going nowhere. So why are we continuing to paying teachers who have an abysmal rate who are failing our students? Because you guys keep allowing it. You keep allowing it. But if you wind up making it past there, you're going to go in the prison system, Cook County Jail, right? And it's not, you think about this here too. It's not a prison. It's a holding facility. You're technically still innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, there's convicted guys in there, but you're for the most part, it's not a correctional facility. It's not, because corrections is rehabilitation, right? We put people in corrections to correct their behavior. You're still innocent until proven guilty. But, that's a unit that houses 10,000 people. Man, how many beds is that? How many uniforms is that? How many bottles of toothpaste is that? Or plastic forks for the cafeteria or whatever they call it there? How many meals? How many businesses? If I sat there and I made soap and I can't force people to shower, but what if there was some type of paramilitary regimented organization that required people to, shower, bathe, do whatever for health reasons? Man, I'm going to try to get the contract for the Cook County Jail for my products, so I know every quarter I'm going to sell 50,000 units of my product without problem. Man, that's awesome. But how, if I want to keep that going, and this is just a conspiracy theory, I have no proof of this. If I want to keep that going, that means I need bodies in the jail. Well, if I need bodies in the jail, don't you think I got to buddy up with some of the Chicago politicians to make sure that they make it easier to get in jail and harder for black people to survive on the streets without going to jail? You guys don't see this systemic racism, this system of racism that is absolutely nonstop, year in, year out, every year that you vote Democrat? Every year, man. I don't have an ounce of interest. I don't have an ounce of sympathy. I don't have an ounce of time to pay attention to any black anything anymore when it's incessantly forced in my throat every single day. And I'm vilified for being white. I'm vilified. Oh, this is racist. I don't care. The lack of impulse control that this culture has in America, it's daily. It's incessant. 7 people. So here's the year-to-date numbers. We are in 1 month and 6 days into 2025, and already 49 people have been shot, and they're mostly black. It's a 90% black. Where's my victim rate? The race of victim assailants, 64.1% is black, 25.6% Hispanic. So there's more than half black. I'll correct myself on that, with a quarter of them being Hispanic. Colored lives, these marginal lives, these persons, POC lives of color, they don't matter. They do not matter. They don't have any control over themselves. They don't value themselves. So I purposely choose not to give a shit about them in America whatsoever, because they don't give a shit about themselves. But Black History Month, start celebrating yourselves more than you demand other people celebrate. But I will say this, I'm still outraged that we are in February 6th and that one damn arrest has been made in the murder of Robert Brooks, but we have an update. An autopsy has found that the death of New York State prison inmate who was handcuffed and shackled while correction officers attacked him was a homicide. Governor Kathy Hochul said on Wednesday, Ms. Hochul said the determination should prompt a swift filing of criminal charges against those involved in the death of the man, Robert Brooks, who's 43, at the Marcy Correctional Facility in December. She referred to the killing as murder and horrific. No, if you saw the video, it was probably one of the worst things I've ever seen. As much as I'm going to rag on like black culture, I'll rag on law enforcement culture. There's something legitimately wrong with you fucking retards who have badges and guns. And it blows me away. George Floyd, I've never changed my position at all. Never changed my position. George Floyd was one of the worst things that happened to law enforcement, not because I believe that Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd. I don't believe he did. I believe that if anything that Chauvin did to accelerate George Floyd's death was to put Floyd in a position to have anxiety and a panic attack, which could have sped up his heart rate. And if he did have fentanyl in his system, the way that the autopsy report showed, then that's going to be indicative of, okay, you're just accelerating that through a system faster. And I know that so many people who are racist themselves, they are just pieces of shit human beings, will sit there and go to, well, he shouldn't have taken it, all that. Dude, I can guarantee you, almost with exclusive precision, as being a well-known human expert, that you yourself are a scumbag and a half who is not free from vice or addiction on some level with something. But I digress. If you look at what Chauvin did, Chauvin knelt. I don't care if you're like, oh, he didn't. I could show you proof of him not kneeling on his neck. I could show you proof of him kneeling on his neck. It doesn't make a difference. It was kneeling on him like he was a trophy lion that Chauvin shot on a Serengeti safari, right? That was an insult. He tortured him. And I did a full breakdown of the video several times. It was one of the biggest slaps in the face to law enforcement ever. And it was 100%, I'm a white cop, you're a black piece of shit. Fuck you, I have no regard for you. That's 100% what it was. And I'll be somebody who's always says, you can't ever judge the content of somebody's mind based on whether or not they're a racist. You know, my words can make everybody think I'm a racist when it's like, no, I love, if you search my porn search history, you'll see my obsession with Diamond Jackson and Vanessa Blue. But anyways, you can't judge the content of somebody's part, if you will. I think based on the way he speaks and based on the way I know that man's character, because there's a lot of similarities between Joe Biden and members of my mother's side of the family, how they dealt with conflict resolution. They're bullies. And the way that Joe Biden talks, he's a racist. There is no question that man thinks he's elite. And I'm saying that from a position of having some relatability. But when it comes down to Chauvin, I can't say for sure, but my God, does it damn well look like it. But anyways, if you saw the video of what these correctional officers did, I'm blown away. The cameras that they used, again, if you guys don't know the body cameras, it's incomprehensible how not every agency in America can have a body camera. I don't get it, especially when you find out the money that's going overseas and how much that could have translated into a budget with body cameras. It's inexcusable. And we'll talk about the USAID budgetary in a little bit, but it doesn't make it just blows me away. I still hear, I don't know if there's any truth to this, like Sheriff Grady Judd of Florida doesn't have body cameras, and it's like, are you kidding me? Do you not understand that that's a license for cops to get away with fucking shit all the time? Not to mention the fact it shows but you want body cameras as a cop because it will show the shitbag nature of lying human beings who are trying to string you up all the time, and it's going to catch them in the act like crazy. But anyways, the body cameras always record. They're always going, and they have this buffer nonstop when it comes down to getting the information out there. Like they record an video only, no audio until you activate the button. How? In the name of God. And for those of you who haven't seen it, we'll take a look at it for a second because I might as well be fair and bring this up for people. The cops who did not know, or excuse me, correctional officers, and everyone's a cop, if you will. to a degree, as far as I'm concerned. They're all the same. They all have the same background. But we'll play the video for some of you who need to see this, and how they did not know this wouldn't be caught on tape. It's astonishing. It shows the low IQ, or if it's not low IQ, then it's intentional. And that's even worse, right? That's even worse. And there's elements of a crime that you have to put together in order to really get a conviction on somebody, like first-degree murder versus second-degree murder. There has to be intent, well thought out, or just crime of passion, impulsive. These men knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing, and they didn't care. And no one in the room cared. It's my belief that I think that everyone in that room should be lined up and they should be executed. They should be criminally tried. They should be convicted righteously as per our laws, because we are a nation of innocent until proven guilty, and they should be instantly executed. Firing squad. Because maybe if this happened, you'd have more people who get into law enforcement. And then what they would do is, unlike the two bystander cops who are in the Derek Chauvin brutalizing of George Floyd and these, instead of people just standing around, look what they're doing. They would go, hey, officer, knock that shit off. And if the cop threatened them, they go, I don't give a shit, dude. Beat me up, fire me, ostracize me. I don't care. I'm not being a part of this. They learn to open their mouths. But let's see if we have an update here on this.
Justice for Robert Brooks after his death at Marcy Correctional Facility in December. The 43-year-old inmate could be seen on body cam footage being beaten by more than a dozen corrections officers before his death.
Absolutely unacceptable. It shows just how systemic racism is still embedded in all of our institutions.
See, this is where you need to shut up, because you're misapplying systemic racism. It's not the case. That how he got there in the first place, aside from apparently shooting his pregnant girlfriend or stabbing his pregnant girlfriend, that could have been part of the problem. I will give you that maybe if he was just marginalized in a society where his education was broken and then he had no job opportunities, because nobody is going to go into those neighborhoods and open businesses up to give them opportunities. Because what do you do? What do you do? Like the Walgreens out here or the Walmarts in Chicago, they won't stay open because you guys can't stop robbing them. So now you're robbing yourself of your own opportunities to make a living and progress in life, and then you're blaming it on the white people, and you throw that systemic racism around like you know what you're talking about when you don't. You are just as much of the problem of systemic racism than the whiteys that you blame. But we'll continue.
I'm tired of watching, other black people get murdered on camera.
While 13 of those staff members have been suspended without pay and another staff member resigned, demonstrators say they want the consequences to go even further. They're calling for arrests. Standing outside 125th Street and 7th Avenue, ralliers chanted and called on Governor Kathy Hochul to permanently close the prison, turning it into a memorial designated.
God, you guys don't know what the hell to do when it comes down to getting shit done. What you should have done, to be honest, and I would have supported, at like day 10, you should have flooded her office and demanded those officers be arrested. And what blows me away is probable cause. And this is where I differ with some law enforcement so much. And if you guys don't know, I run a law enforcement website, Cop Talk Live, where I discuss these issues. CopTalkLive.org. CopTalkLive.org. And you have all the probable cause you need to go make arrests. Some enterprising, constitutionally loving cops out there should have said, we're not waiting. We have all the probable cause we need to go and arrest somebody. If they had put the handcuffs on one correctional officer and told some sergeant to piss off, if they said no, cut him loose, brought him back to booking, it would have made the media and shit would have been accelerated faster. Because if this was you as a citizen and you had accidentally shoved your big old size 12 boot on somebody's concave chest as they were being strapped to a table and choked out by another partner of yours, and you're just a citizen, you'd be in fucking jail about 2 hours after it happened. But not in America with your cop. Not in America. You got protection to back the blue. This has been December 8th, December 9th has happened. It's February 6th. We have no arrests yet. February 6th, and tell me how in the name of God, unless it's planned, unless it's purposely planned. How in the name of God is this possible unless you want to keep the racial tensions going? Just a thought. Just a thought. Because you got to keep feeding those people breadcrumbs. Here, let's keep you angry. Let's keep prodding your emotions. You ever see the movie Inner Space? If you're new to the show, I make a lot of references towards like 80s movies and television. And Inner Space was Dennis Quaid gets shrunk down microscopic level into like a spaceship, but it's inner. And he gets injected into Martin Short. And in one scene, Martin Short's feeling really hostile. And that's because from within his system, on his ship, Dennis Quaid is stimulating the part of his brain that makes him hostile. It's like, that's all they're doing, man. They know how to trigger you with shit and just get you going. Those responsible, excuse me, those responsible for Mr. Brooks' death must be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. And I recognize the need to build an airtight prosecution to ensure those individuals are brought to justice. Play the fucking tape. Play the tape. Any expert out there, you need me to testify, I will. Use of force certified, use of force instructor, use of force expert. I'll tell you flat out, there is no justifiable, unless, I don't know, did Brooks have an edged weapon in his mouth that he was able to slash back and forth and he was able to manipulate? Did he have a pistol in his mouth that he was able to manipulate back and forth like crazy to be a threat at them? Because if you saw some of the full video, which I played, coptalklive.org, you can go take a look at it. One of the correctional officers, while Brooks is handcuffed, has got his hands behind his back. And Brooks does not look that big. He looks about 160 pounds, soaking wet. And he's got him wrung out by the neck, and he's just bringing him up, choking him like a fucking Looney Tunes character. It's literally like, Tom or Jerry has just got Tom strangled by the neck and his head balloons out. It blows me away. No, they don't need to be held accountable by the fullest extent of the law. These vile, disgusting, oath-breaking human pieces of shit need to be put to death in our culture. They are unfit for society. And the reason I have a problem with this is they are at the highest level of human service. The sad, depending upon which way you want to look at it, the sad or utterly most perfect thing about our way of life is our criminal justice system. It's the best in the world, and it's still broken. You are still innocent until proven guilty, and then if you're proven guilty, you are able to be put through corrections in order to hopefully rehabilitate to function in society. And we don't do that, right? We don't look at people who've been through prison as being rehabilitated or paying their debt to society. We always look at them, they're like just human pieces of shit. And there's a lot of people who they just can't be rehabilitated. You could thank all the sorts of poison that goes through their systems, right? All the food, all the drugs, all the booze, all the mind-altering shit that our culture just consumes that keeps us stupid and just criminal behavior. But even Brooks had the right to just human decency. I don't give a shit, man. When you're outnumber somebody and you out-weapon them and you outsize them and you go, and I'm all for bullying. Trust me, I think bullying is one of the greatest things on the planet. Complete unrelated topic. I started watching documentaries on Roy Cohn. And my God, was that man a brutal savage. And like him or hate him, I think he was phenomenal at what he did. And you could tell he was bullied. I think bullying forges people into going down paths of either complete brokenness or the highest peaks of success in their own personal ability. But when you bully this way, when you're outnumbering someone, which let's not mince words, is what the black community loves to do. If you're white in the city of Chicago and you've got something that the black culture wants to steal, they're going to outnumber you 5-1, 10-1, knock you down, play knockout game, kick you while your head's in the ground. So it's a tactic. But when you're in the echelon of civil service and you swore that oath and you swore to protect society, all this, and you have no what? Literally, what can you possibly do as a human being to further say you have value in this culture anymore. What's going on? Yeah, I was a correctional officer. I swore to uphold the Constitution and treat every inmate, with respect and administer a corrective discipline, if you will, according to the way that the government and the correctional facility and whoever runs the state organization instructs me to do so, and force only necessary to keep myself or other inmates safe, including the inmate itself. But yeah, I chose to violate that, and I choked the shit and I ragdolled a skinny black man by his neck while he was in handcuffs with two of my hands wringing his neck around, while my partner took his boot and shoved it into his gut, his rib cage. And another partner of mine, yeah, we got him on camera. He's punching him in the groin. Yeah, what value, legitimately, what value of a human being do you have in this culture? Now, I know some of the shitbags out there, could be you listening, who's like, well, he was a criminal, he deserved it. Your turn. 100% guarantee you, again, by being an expert on human beings, that there's a 100% accurate chance that you, the glorious upper echelon example of a human being we should all just wind up being an example over, you've done some shit that we disagree with. You're the asshole who leaves his shopping cart when you exit the grocery store 5 rows back when you could have fucking walked it back to the shop container. We should all punch the shit out of you. You deserve to be beat. You're the guy who, I don't know, let's just take it back 30 years. You weren't kind. You didn't rewind, and you returned the video. So when somebody wanted to get it, they had to spend 5 minutes rewinding it first, and sometimes that warped the VHS tape. For those who are old enough to remember that, guarantee you've done some shit. You blow through yellow lights or red lights, and you hesitate when the light is green a little bit more. You've done some shit that on your level of just because it's accepted on a non-criminal level of society doesn't mean it doesn't piss people off. You're an asshole. You cheat on your wife. You beat your kids. You're a drunk. I don't know what it is. So I don't throw stones, because if I did, I would be throwing boulders to that fucking glass house. That's why I don't criticize. That's why I will never say I'm better than Robert Brooks. Robert Brooks, who attacked, I guess, his pregnant girlfriend. That's what wound up in jail. I'll never be better than him. I'm not better than George Floyd, but I 100% guarantee you I am better than those who criticize other people like that. I just am. You are beneath me. Brooks's family has also called for criminal charges, which I agree with, and has filed state and federal lawsuits against the state of New York and the people implicating its killing. Elizabeth Mazur, a lawyer for the family, said on Wednesday, the autopsy report concerns what was already clear: Robert Brooks's violent death was a homicide. She added, we look forward to the prosecution of those responsible. In the meantime, we're pushing forward with our fight for justice and for Brooks's family. I hope to God they all kill themselves. I hope you do. Save the taxpayers' money, because no, you know what? No, I don't. Slip up trying to kill yourselves, but don't incapacitate yourself where you wind up in like a hospital for the rest of your life. Just do something stupid like mistake a bottle of pills and like get it. Oh, dude, like think you're going to put yourself to sleep painlessly and then just take a nap and then get hooked up, because I hope you have the living shit beat out of you in prison, and I hope you're killed by other inmates. I really do. I will not hide my contempt for those who abuse their authority as a public servant, as a correctional officer, or as a police officer. You are given the greatest responsibility in the world, which requires you to shelve your ego and remind yourself that it doesn't matter who they are underneath you. They could be the poorest of the poor, the shittiest of the shitty, the biggest criminals on the planet. When it comes time for them, they are owed by our Creator your service. It's their constitutional authority, their constitutional right. And if you can't accept that as a cop, correctional officer, you need to get the fuck out of the profession. And I hope you're slaughtered in prison. It is Black History Month, and it wouldn't be a day ending in Y if we didn't have persecution on Trump, which I'm not a fan of what he's doing so far. He may have made up for it today. I just don't know. but it wouldn't be week number 3 if Democrats weren't already out for impeachment on Trump. And this is Representative Al Green going after or introducing articles of impeachment on Trump.
Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is not a joke, especially when it emanates from the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, when he has the ability to perfect what he says. Ethnic cleansing in Gaza is no joke, and the Prime Minister of Israel should be ashamed, knowing the history of his people, to stand there and allow such things to be said. Ethnic cleansing has been a crime against humanity. And I stand here to...
Now, why does your culture do it every weekend? You guys can't help yourselves. It's lack of impulse control. Ooh, look, someone that looks like me. Where's my gun? Shut up. Ethnic cleansing is literally what the black community does to each other every weekend in Democrat liberal-run cities. It's your thing. Hey, what do you want to do today? I don't know. Do you want to ethnically cleanse some people? Yeah, let's go get 4 other boys. We're going to go drive by. Okay, that's cool. Ethnic cleansing is literally black culture in Democrat cities. So I have no idea what you're talking about over in the Middle East.
Today in the well, to denounce what was said, to denounce what the president said, to denounce the complicity of the Prime Minister of Israel, and to remind people that Dr. King was right.
Oh, shit.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And injustice...
Oh, you got to throw that everywhere. I swear to God, I'm going to start talking in the show. Like, when you guys start milking what one man did, who may have been turned out to be a CIA plant anyways, and that's another rabbit hole that I don't enjoy going down to. My entire adolescent education has just been ruined. I have no if there's a black pill, like literally, it's this big. This is how big the black pill is that I swallowed. I'm going to call it Jerome. That's how big the black pill I swallowed, where I have no faith in humanity ever again with the lies. We are inherently evil as a people. There is no good in human beings. It's like you are born a bastard, just a fucking bastard. And as time goes on, you kind of strive, you do nice things. You try to act kind to people a little bit. But as human beings, we are utter garbage. So I have no faith in this whatsoever, especially when you're going to milk what Dr. Martin Luther King said. And you still today, all this time, you got to talk like him to rile up the black community, to get them on your side, because that's all you're appeasing to, right? And you're trying to tap in to the liberal white guilt of that white housewife, right? Who she's so unsatisfied by her husband's, adequate 5 inches. She can't tell you why she's got, she's been watching that BBC porn lately, and she doesn't know why it's triggering something so primal in her that when she hears your voice, she feels that need to get in front of you and kiss the boots. It's great programming for white liberal women. It really is. Oh, that's another rabbit hole we've gone. We have pussified white liberal men so bad that's how you get liberal white women to worship black men, because when it comes down between the two of them, you've got the perfection of when it comes down to black men knowing how to attract liberal white women. White men, well, let's take the obvious, the non-physicality, all the way from their lack of any type of just what I would say, right? They're masculine. They're not masculine. They're musculature. They're lacking size. Whatever. Their non-ability to be a leader in the family. That's an indecisiveness. All general masculine qualities are just non-existent, right? And then you take their cucks. They don't run the household. They don't. It's the women. Oh, whatever you want to do, sweetie. Oh, our hot Johnny got in a fight in school today. What do you want to do about it? You don't let your boys be boys, so you're perpetuating more white liberal boys out there. And you're simps. You're massive simps. And you guys don't understand that with women, there's this biological DNA programmed feature that when they get proper leadership, it makes them turn into a pool of viscousness, glorious, feminine, soaked hormone, pheromone shit all over the place. They're a puddle for it. And you don't think black men know how to fucking do that? But black men don't like to do it to black women because black women are the exact opposite. Black women are more masculine, and they vilify black men, and they know how to use the system against them. So black men and white liberal women, perfect combination. You've got the masculine physicality. You've got the, oh yeah, compared to little white whatever. And then you've got the basically treating them like shit to cave into their daddy issues so that they know where to crave to. Oh, God, he's treating me like shit. I'm going that way. And it's a perfect, whoever studied how to keep us little ants busy, like it was a genius. They knew exactly what they're doing.
In Gaza is a threat to justice in the United States of America.
Yeah.
I rise to announce that the movement to impeach the president has begun.
Good selective words.
I rise to announce that I
rise. Yeah, I've got to rise up above our oppressors to movement. It's good. This is good black rhetoric.
Bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed.
Done dirt cheap.
Dastardly deeds done.
Yes.
I also rise to say that the impeachment movement is going to be a grass up movement, not a top down.
Yeah.
The people have got to move forward. The people have to demand it. And when the people demand it, it will be done.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of what Trump was doing, and I took it only from a headline the other day. And I want no part of Israel, and I want no part of Gaza or Palestine. I want no part of it. I want to fix what happens here in America first. I'm not interested in foreign affairs. I do not have any desire for this nation to continue to be the police of the world. None. It's not our business. If that USAID showed us where they're spending money, how much money could be refocused back into this country to do whatever is needed? And if you really look at shit, like I've always wondered, well, maybe our agriculture, how much product are we farming in from overseas? Or what product? The amount of unoccupied land in the United States, government-owned land probably. And again, I'm not somebody who can really solve the problems. I bring up the arguments in hopes that smarter people than I can solve the problems, but I'm still going to question the methodology. I'm not going to go, hey, I brought the argument, you got the answer. Oh, I'm going to go explain the answer so we can understand. But everything from our hardwire, our phones, if you will, our hard content, stuff that's made in China, how can that not be made here? Our food, our oil, whatever runs, are we not enough of a self-sustaining country that we rely on the rest of the world? We need to relook at this trade issue. And again, I could be way off, but I highly doubt it. This is what Trump had to say, and I didn't like it, didn't care for it, but I want to listen anyways.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
The fuck, Israel can't do it? They shit the bed and we got to go clean it up? No, fuck them. Fuck them. I'm not interested in this. What does Israel do for the United States? So Israel goes, and at this point, if you follow this show, you can rewind back to October of 2023, where I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. How did paragliders get through one of the most well-protected areas in the world and wreak all this havoc and kidnap these people and blah, blah, blah. But hey, war is war. I believe I believe, now I'm non-military. I never served in the military. It's my biggest regret. I was too much of a coward to enlist. I just was. It was very simple. I believe, though, people like the Romans knew exactly what war was about. You have an enemy, you wipe them out. Every man, every woman, every child. I believe the media is the worst thing in the world for world peace. I truly do. Follow my logic. If you had the media gone, and I believe it was like over in Vietnam era, that, you know, those men who came home from a war they shouldn't have been involved with were vilified because of the way that the media featured them. We have right now the media showing us what they want to see. And that's why I take everything with a grain of salt. All these children being killed in Gaza and the Israelis doing bomb strikes instead of going door to door. Again, I'm not talking about the warfare tactics. If there was a legitimate conflict that we have no business in, which is Palestine and Israel, I say let them sort it out, remove the media, and if it's Israel's choice to completely wipe out every man, woman, and child of Palestinian descent, that's their choice. They will have to reap the responsibility of their actions as history grows. But did they achieve peace in the area? So be it. If Palestine chooses the same thing and says we successfully got in with paragliders, let's send in about 100,000 more and let's wipe all those Israelis off the planet, we wouldn't have the media there showing us and then having another country like America saying, oh my God, we have to get involved. You would let them sort the problem out himself. See, the number one problem is the media, which then forces ignorant foreigners like Americans to have to choose a side. Oh, those children. You didn't give a fuck about those children last year. You didn't give a fuck about those children last week. You didn't give a fuck about any of those children until you saw dying bodies or dead bodies from what the media chose to show you, which you don't think can be manipulated on either side. So again, no business in this war. None whatsoever. You want to shut them up? Let them wipe their enemy out. That's the only way a war can ever be achieved with a total victory and success. That's by annihilating your enemy. I don't like what Trump is doing. So if Israel says that they're going to go ahead and they're going to bomb, they're going to level buildings, they're going to retaliate, clean up your own shit, BB. You got people there. You got some able-bodied people. Go fucking work. Grab a shovel and a broom. The fact that Trump is doing this, I don't like it. It's bullshit, and I'm not interested whatsoever. I didn't vote for this shit for him.
Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all. With the same goal in mind, my administration has been moving quickly to restore trust in the alliance and rebuild American strength throughout the region. And we've really done that. We're a respected nation again. A lot's happened in the last couple of weeks. We are actually a very respected nation again. I ended the last administration's de facto arms embargo on over $1 billion in military assistance for Israel. And I'm also pleased to announce that this afternoon, the United States withdrew from the anti-Semitic UN Human Rights Council and ended all of the support for the UN Relief and Works Agency, which funneled money to Hamas and which was very disloyal to humanity. Today, I also took action to restore a maximum pressure policy on the Iranian regime, and we will once again enforce the most aggressive possible sanctions, drive Iranian oil exports to zero, and diminish the regime's capacity to fund terror throughout the region and throughout the world. We had no threat when I left office. Iran was not able to sell oil. Nobody was buying oil because I said, don't buy it. If you buy it, you're not doing any business with the United States. And Hamas was not being funded. Hezbollah was not being funded. Nobody was being funded. There would never have been an October 7th. 2 weeks ago, I once again...
Yeah, I at this point, I believe, just like 9/11 and just like everything else, that it has to be a position of power thing. And I had it, right? As having a badge, you looked for a reason. What good, and not a lot of people understand this, but what good was having a badge if you didn't get to use it? So you looked for those bad guys in the street. You looked for that person to speed. You wanted them to resist. It's I'm telling you, as human beings, we're inherently evil. We look for problems. We don't want peace. We want confrontation, always, with specks of hope and peace, so that we can recharge for the next fucking battle. I think it is my deepest belief that we need conflict in order to be happy on that higher level. On some degree, human beings have only become satisfied when they can vilify one presidential candidate while glorifying another, or they can have a war and choose a side over God's chosen, and they can't even say why they're God's chosen. At the same time, they'll accuse you of being an anti-XYZ because you don't support their views. We need conflict as human. We live to hate as human beings. It's what we do. We love it. Here's just some things on the USAID that as Americans, I am worried enough about my day-to-day operations and my businesses and what I have to do, where I hope that the federal government and my state government, my local government, runs the way that it should. I'm very guilty of not doing what I tell everybody to do, which is go to your village hall meetings. I've been to one in the last year. One, and I need to go monthly. And I think that the only way to take America back is through violence. However, it has to be done by the threat of violence first, and that has to be done before that, predicated by the threat of presence first. So listen carefully. When all else fails, then you resort to violence. We have a long way to go before that happens. I think you need to start showing up in mass numbers to your village hall meetings, your city halls, and your mayors, your village boards of trustees, your village presidents. They need to see, oh shit, the people are keeping an eye on us. I need to do my job. They need to see that first meeting. You know, if you got a town of like 6,000 people, they need to see 50 or 60 of you in the audience. Then they need to see 100 of you. Then they need to see 1,000 of you. They're like, we don't have the room for this. You need to use that public comment section time to ask questions or make statements. Run for office yourself. Challenge people. You need to keep these people working, because on the local level is where they stem to get all the way to the federal. And I don't care how much you say you vote for Trump, you support Trump. He doesn't know who you are. He doesn't know, and he's never going to give a shit. And he's gone in 3 years and 10 months, 3 years and 11 months, whatever it is. This is different. Your local level is going to impact your day-to-day life much easier, and we need to start in big, huge numbers, going to city and village hall meetings and making our presence known, so that they know shit, we're being watched, and they feel that pressure, they feel that threat. It has to happen that way. Going back to what I was saying is that I never paid attention to what happened on the federal level, because I shouldn't have to. I got to worry about mowing the lawn on the weekends. I live in Illinois, so I've got that, shit, what is it? That thorny weed that's a tree, buckthorn, grows up, and it's so invasive, it's ridiculous. I got to mow that shit every weekend, and it's insane. So I got to do that. I got to polish my motorcycles when it's season. Got to go to the gym. I got to eat right. I gotta work. I gotta do some stuff. I don't have time, man, to worry about everything the government is spending on. I don't need to know that we spent $1.5 million to, quote, advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. $70,000 of United States income, money, for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland. $2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam. Okay. $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia. $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. This is all from the White House .government website, whitehouse.gov. $2 million for sex change and LGBTQ activism in Guatemala. $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. Last I checked, don't you have the fucking pyramids and the Sphinx? Like that isn't self-explanatory billboards in movies for the last 90 or 100 years in American cinema? Shit, I'd like to see that someplace sometime. That's like all the tourist attraction you need. Isn't it one of the great wonders of the world? It's like, damn, I don't think you'll ever run out of a curious group of people who want to see those things because there's nowhere else in the world that we know of that has them. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for nonprofit linked designated to terrorist organizations, even after an inspector general launched investigations. So we're funding fucking terrorism. Millions to Eco Healthcare Alliance, which is involved in the Wuhan lab. Hundreds of thousands of meals that went to Al-Qaeda affiliated fighters in Syria. You've got it, dude. You have to feed those that you're going to fight, because how can you go stage a war you want to fight if you're like, dude, no, the guys are skinny. No, man, you're going to go over there with your Americans, you know, your 220-pound badass well, not badass anymore. Your DEI, genderqueer, fucking drag queen, military service guys. No, we don't want them to blow them. We want them to blow them up, right? So get rid of their lipstick and drag sync numbers, but send them over there. And the Rashid over here, he's 120 pounds. You could blow on him and he's going to fall over. So if you want to put a few rounds into him and have him stand up, let's feed him a little bit. Let's beef him up to 180. We'll have him hit the weights a little bit, you know, get those carbs and proteins in. We got to build the enemy if we're going to fight him. Fucking ridiculous. Funding to print personalized contraceptive birth controls in developing countries. Holy shit. Holy shit. Developing countries, you're introducing contraceptives into a developing country. So a country that hasn't even found itself yet, you are trying to control the population and you're trying to dictate and force I could just picture some white liberal woman over there explaining the glory of women's sexual liberty over there by saying, take this pill, your hormones will change. Hey, you know, you'll feel differently. You won't be able to make rational decisions. And all of a sudden you'll be attracted to cuck-like men because your biological pheromone detection systems will go, masculinity. No, I don't like that. I need to be attracted to skinny twink guys with pale skin and sunken in eyes. Fucking ridiculous. Hundreds of millions of dollars to irrigation canals, farming equipment, and even fertilizers used to support the unprecedented population or poppy cultivation, heroin product in Afghanistan, benefiting the Taliban. But American farmers are told year after year to destroy crops, or the U.S. government would come and God knows do what over to them. Yeah, this is probably maybe the only redeeming thing that Trump did so far. We'll listen to this and see if this is a story. No, I'm not going to listen to an hour-long statement. President Donald Trump said Thursday that he wants to root out anti-Christian bias in the United States, announcing that he was forming a task force led by Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate the targeting of Christians. Don't investigate, just stop it. Knock it the fuck off. The next time that a Christian baker is arrested or the threat of arrest by some dumb cop who's supported by an even dumber state's or district attorney, end it. Fire the cop, fire the prosecutor, and move on from then. Actually arrest the cop and the prosecutor because they're violating a constitutional right. 2 years mandatory in federal prison. Don't forget about that. Speaking at a pair of events in Washington surrounding the National Prayer Breakfast, Trump said that the task force would be directed to immediately halt all forms of anti-Christian targeting and discrimination within the federal government, including the Department of Justice, which was terribly which absolutely terribly, the IRS and FBI terribly, and other agencies. Trump said Bondi would also work out to fully prosecute the anti-Christian violence and vandalism in our society, to move heaven and earth, to defend the rights of Christians and religious believers nationwide. The president's comments came after he joined the National Prayer Breakfast at the Capitol, and more than a 70-year-old Washington tradition that brings together a bipartisan group of lawmakers. Jonathan Cahn. If you guys have never seen Jonathan, completely random. The only prayer breakfast I ever watched was Jonathan Cahn. I think this is 2016. Oh, his speech was. I don't know how accurate his speech was looking back at it, but it was a fantastic speech. So it's good to know. It's good to know that that's what Trump is pursuing. I don't know if we've been watching, but we've got rid of woke over the last 2 weeks. He said woke is a go zone. Yeah, I mean, does that mean now that as a Christian, which I hate assigning myself to, because I think Christians are some of the most biggest hypocritical people on the planet, that I can start accusing people of being anti-Semitic or anti-Christianic and for breathing? I'm looking forward to that one. This is what it is. And lastly, this has got to be my favorite story. American black woman in Pakistan baffles the internet as she refuses to leave after a planned marriage to a teenager fell apart. A New York woman, a black woman, became a very unlikely viral hit after her trip to Pakistan to marry a teenager she met online. Turned into a series of bizarre exploits as she refused to leave the country, demanding thousands of dollars and claimed she wanted to rebuild the nation. Onaya Andrew Robinson, 32, traveled to Karachi in October of 2024 to meet and marry Nidal Ahmad Menman, a 19-year-old Pakistan man. So is it teen or man? You got to clarify that for us. But upon arrival, Menman rejected her, and his family was opposed to the marriage, leaving her stranded for several days as her tourist visa expired. She claims, I got to play audio of this broad, and you'll know exactly why he was like, oh, dude, holy cow. What did you take her to a movie out there? And then just realize she talks to the whole damn thing? I mean, this is culture. You invited black culture over your country. Welcome. Okay, I already read that one. It was reported that money was raised for her to return home, but she refused. Of course, always a victim. This is what the black culture of America today does. They are taught to get stuff for free, to complain until you're handed the binky. That's black culture in America. Don't work. Get what you're owed. If you didn't get reparations one way, we'll give it to you in another. This is black culture in America today for those who love to capitalize off of a poor me, victim-based system. Now, now that she's taken by social media storm by her wild tale becoming a sensation on TikTok, after facing the rejection from her alleged lover, Robinson had nowhere to go and began wandering around. She lingered around Menman's home for a while, but found that the entire family had vacated and locked the house up. She's going to cry. Gentrification. She's going to claim, what's this, redlining? What's this? Oh, my God. So it happens in other cultures. It's white flight, right? Except for this Pakistani flight. Black people move in and they all move out. This isn't racist if this is what the behavior of the culture is. This is pattern recognition. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. The entire family left the house because of one loud black woman. And here's the conundrum. I had a woman accuse me the other day in a DMs because I sat there, and Trayvon Martin's birthday was the other day, and his mom put up on Twitter something along the lines of, my son would have been 30 today, and I said, yeah, buddy attacked somebody and was on the receiving end of self-defense. And then this black woman slides into my DMs and accuses me of being racist, saying, I don't understand how you could praise black women one day and then vilify people the other, because I said the closest feeling you will ever get to the joy of world peace is literally getting a hug from an overweight, over 60 black grandmother. It's the greatest fucking feeling in the world. I don't care if you have never been hugged by a fat, big, chesty black woman who is over 60. I think it's a caveat. It's got to be over 60 minimum. And as kids or as a grandmother, you do not know what a fucking hug is. It is the greatest goddamn thing in the world. Black women who are over 60, who have grandkids and who are large, a hug from one of them will release more dopamine, serotonin, positive energy, fucking good voodoo vibes than any social media vibe of or video of yours ever going viral. It's the greatest fucking thing in the world. But she goes, how can you also be so critical of black culture at the same time? Because I can separate reality, which is the black hug, and the positive and the good, right? The positive and the good and the bad. So I have no problem saying I could be a bias like my culture. I love the food of my culture. I love the camaraderie. I love the ethnicity. I love the culture. I love the plastic on the sofa. I fucking hate the mafia aspect. I hate the extortion of our people. I hate the connotations that are the womanizing and shit, even though I was for a long time. All that crap, right? I hate the negative shit in my own culture. So it is what it is. I could point out both. Meanwhile, a man claiming to be her son, giving his name as Jeremiah Robinson, gave an interview to Pakistani TV where he said his mother suffers from a mental bipolar disorder, saying that the marriage to Mehmet never occurred. I'm trying to help her as her son to come back to the U.S. So, dude, you got lucky. What are you doing? Leave her there. Stupid. She was only supposed to go to Pakistan to meet him and his family. He states in the clip it was not clear that, her son, how old he was. Robinson spoke at a press conference in Pakistan where she said, I'm asking for $100K or more. I need $20K by this week in my pockets in cash. That demand is to the government. She's got a Charleston County mugshot following arrest for entering the premises after a warning. Okay, criminal trespass property. I think I want to see if this is video of her. Let me see.
Karachi with an expired tourist visa, she wandered aimlessly, even lingering around Memon's vacated home. Robinson's story quickly gained traction on social media, particularly TikTok. Her bold demands and wild tale captivated audiences, turning her into an unexpected online sensation. In various videos, Robinson made unclear demands for money, claiming she needed thousands of dollars. She expressed desires to improve infrastructure and local services in Pakistan. Despite rejection, Robinson claimed plans to move to Dubai with Memon and start a family. She refused to elaborate, citing religious reasons for keeping her personal matters private.
No, she's not playing up on there. I want to see what's her name. What is her name again? I got to go and let's see. We'll put this in. We'll punch this in really quick to see if she's got any videos circulating. Guys, don't forget to join us every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern here, Spreely.com, Spreely TV. All your social media platforms that you do enjoy. Share the show. Do not forget, we're listener funded. You want to share some loves and whatnot? Rants of Izzo, PayPal, show some love. We're not paid by any other way other than you guys. This is fantastic. Other than you guys showing the love and keeping us going.
Listen, he talked too much. That's it. Yes, that's it. Yes, I'm saying. Listen. You talk too much. Okay. We don't know what you're saying.
अच्छा अब ये सारी चीजें हम जो आप अभी देख रहे हैं ये हम रात से मतलब है कि स्पेयर कर रहे हैं. अच्छा जाहिर है हम तो इंसानी बुनियादों पर हमारा.
Oh my God, this is so awesome. That is so awesome. Pakistan is getting a wake-up call into American black culture and the sassy black women out there. That the volume of their voice equals the power of their argument. It's amazing. Holy shit. And shove me in it. That's your feel-good story for the day. Guys, that's your Thursday. Rantsofizzo.com. Spreely.com. If you want more police content, coptalklive.org. There's an entire section of videos, articles, news, and more, live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern for Law Enforcement Breakdown. You can call in and give us your views of what we talk about, your police experience stories, or how we can change cop culture together. Do not forget, support all things on the show. Go to ransomism.com, click that donate button and support the show. Keep us going. We're in year 7, and that's because of your loyalty, but we want your sponsorship. It's as simple as that. Other than that, have a great damn day. Go out and help somebody today, and if you can't help them, don't hurt them. But watch the Burn Pit podcast, Report and Opine, Shannon Joy Show, Pete Santilli, Evening Rants, and a lot more. Spreely.com, great platform that we love supporting, and we're happy to be a part of. You guys have a great damn day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for more of the Rants of Izzo here on Spreely TV.